This is the plaintiff, Timothy Halo. He says he went to the defendant's shop and pawned a gold 1916 Cuban peso and some gold. He spoke with someone at the pawn shop and they agreed to give him a 1-month extension to come pick it up. When he arrived, he was told his stuff had been melted down. Melted down? These items were priceless to him. They can't be allowed to treat a customer with such disregard, and he's suing for the return of the $5,000 he's now owed. This is the defendant, Brian Cabrera. He says the plaintiff's payment expired on May 12, 2012. April 4th, 2012, they notified him of the expiration date, and the plaintiff promised he'd make good on the payment in time. When he arrived almost a month late and was told his stuff was gone, he became irate, and the cops were called. This whole mess is the plaintiff's fault, no one else's. He's accused of melting a guy's heart.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff pawned some gold at the defendant's pawn shop. The defendant melted it down without giving the plaintiff a chance to retrieve it. But the defendant says the plaintiff came back too late. It's the case of you melt me.
You're welcome.
Timothy Halo, you are suing Five Borough Pawn.
Yes.
Represented here by Brian Cabrera.
Yes.
Okay. For $5,000, you say you're out actually more than that, but that's a statutory maximum because according to you, they inappropriately melted the items that you pawned. Right. All right, tell me what happened there, Mr. Halo.
I went in around December and pawned a 1916 Cuban 5 peso gold coin.
Wow.
And
I would have liked to have seen that as a Cuban. I don't know if you know your judge is Cuban, but a 1916 Cuban 5 peso coin.
Right.
That was gold?
It was gold.
Solid gold?
Solid gold.
And you pawned it. Had you pawned stuff there before?
Yes. I pawned the same coin twice before.
Okay.
And I told them that when I first pawned it, I told them it was a $6,000 coin. And so when they took it and gave me the $250. And I didn't realize at the time my 4 months are running out. And I called up and asked them if I could wait.
What do you mean your 4 months are running out? What are you referring to?
They held it for 4 months, and then they.
But that's like the outer limit. I mean, you pawn it for $250. They give you $250, and the idea is that you start making interest payments on it after 3 months or immediately.
You have to pay within 5 months. You don't have to pay every month.
Okay. So for how many months do you have?
5 months.
5 months.
Yes, we do 5 months. The law is 4 months. We give our customers 5 months.
So I don't have to pay any interest payments for 5 months.
That's correct.
And then I can keep you from selling it by just paying you the interest payments.
That's correct.
Or I have to pay the whole thing off. I have to pay you the $250.
Yes.
All right. And now let me see the contract that he signed.
This is the original.
Not a contract, this contract,
yes.
right?
Okay. The original, yes.
Okay. The pledge may be sold by us after 4 months from the date of pawn. Why do you keep saying 5 months?
Well, the state regulates us, and they have the back of the pawn tickets 4 months. But now, since there's so much competition, we give our customers the extra
So you're
month.
admitting that you actually give 5.
That's
He thinks
correct.
you give 4 because that's what he said. But in any event, the date of the pawn is,
which is actually
well,
5 months.
the date it says it's due is May 12th, which would be 5 months. All right. And then it says, provided at least 30 days before the sale, we send you by mail to the address given at the time of the pledge a written notice that we intend to sell. All right, so what do you say happens? And
They
then
never gave a written notice.
What happens? Come May 12th, what do you do?
I called them up and I asked them if I could pick it up on June the 1st. And they said, okay.
Who's they?
The person at 21st Street and...
Yeah, but who's they? I mean, you're altering...
Five Borough
No.
Pawn.
Yeah, you're altering a written contract. I would like you to know who it is you talked to who gave you authority to alter a written contract, because you're supposed to pick it up May 12th.
Right.
So if you want me to believe that somebody said, oh, no problem, we'll give you another half a month, it'd be nice if you knew who you talked to.
Well, I don't know.
Does anybody at your place say, yeah, we told him he could pick it up June 1st?
Well, he wasn't there.
All right, so according to you, someone from Five Borough Pawn agreed that you could change the contract, but you don't know who. Go on.
To pick it up on the 1st of June.
Okay.
So when I went in on the 1st of June, it was almost closing. They said they're closed. Come back tomorrow. And I said, okay.
Okay.
I went back the next day and they said, we melted that down. We took that already.
Okay. What day are you in there and that's happening?
On June the 2nd.
June the 2nd. And according to you, the person who answers you says, we melted that down already.
Right.
Okay, go on.
I said, on the back of the contract, it says that you have to, after default, you have to hold it for 4 months.
No, they don't have to hold. That's not what the back of the contract says. Hold it for 4 months after default?
That's what it says on the back.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it says.
On the bottom paragraph.
Yeah, the bottom paragraph doesn't say that either. Hold it for 4 months after default?
Oh, that's how I read it.
No. The only place 4 months is mentioned is this pledge may be sold by us after 4 months from the date of pawn, not the date of default.
There's no default mentioned in there?
No, of course there's default mentioned, just not, they say 4 months, but you want it to tick after 5 months, and it doesn't. It ticks from the date of pawn. But go on. So you say to them, you weren't allowed to do that yet. It wasn't ripe, and what happens? What do they tell you?
They told me that they melted it down.
That they'd melted it down.
Right.
Is there a market for gold coins? What do you think? Anybody? Okay, we're going to you. Market for gold coins? You got a yes or a no?
I'll say a yes.
Okay. You know what? She's probably as good as any stockbroker going inside the courtroom.
You melted down a Cuban coin.
Actually, his Cuban coin was beat up, and we usually certify coins through PCGS, and that was uncertifiable, so we had to melt it down. It was scrap
You look
gold.
at the contract and it says minor scratches.
Why does your contract say minor scratch? Why would you melt down a Cuban coin?
Actually,
From
they're not that.
1916.
I'm sorry. I know it's
Clearly, you're not
from-
Cuban, right? free Cuba coin, and you don't think there's a market for that from any exile who might want to. All right, whatever. But when did you do that?
May 22nd.
May 22nd. It wasn't even in default, but 10 days at that point.
Yeah.
What does your contract say about you melting something 10 days after default?
30
I don't
days
get it. The 30 days is supposed to run prior to what?
prior to you defaulting on the item, and you're allowed to default on the item the day after the pawn is due. As long as you give a written notice within 30 days.
So you're saying you send written notice before the due date?
That's correct.
All your written notices to people saying, hey, in 30 days, I'm going to what? Let me see your written notice.
Yeah, this is, well, you want the actual letter that we sent? I don't.
Yeah, or
I didn't-
a sample of what
I
you
didn't
sent.
bring that. I brought
Because they
just
didn't
the
send
post
it,
office.
yeah.
No, the post office. Yeah, well, just a second.
I didn't bring
Not
the
so fast.
actual.
Okay, this is the post office itemizes the
everybody's
addresses of who you're sending notice. Let me see
And the
that.
dates.
Okay, now, and what does the notice that you sent on April 2nd say?
It pretty much says our name, address, telephone number, the default date. It'll say Timothy C. Halo. You have until May 12th to either contact us to arrange for method of payments or to pick up your item.
Okay, now this is something that's printed out by the post office?
That's printed out through us. We give them the letters. They check all the letters with the address, and then they post stamp it. It's a certificate. It's a mailing certificate. That's what the state requires us to do.
And what's the date that you went there, June 2nd?
June 1st and June 2nd.
Why are you cutting us so close, man? This
Say
is so
again?
valuable. Why are you doing this? Why are you pawning it on December and not showing up until, and then looking at me and saying, yeah, I know I'm 2 weeks late, Judge, but, somebody told me who I can't identify that I could be. I mean,
Oh,
you didn't have the money?
No, I had.
You had the money?
No, not at the time I called. I would have went in and got it. But, I mean, it didn't sound like he questioned it. He just said, okay.
And he's got the proof that you had the 30-day notice.
I never received a letter, Your Honor.
You're out of gas. I'm sorry. I don't see anything that the
Your
pawn
Honor,
company
it
did
sa-
wrong, and I find in
it
favor of the
says
pawn
there,
company.
Your Honor,
It doesn't
Your
say
Honor.
what you're saying it says.
It's 63% interest.
All right, so let's see what the plaintiff has to say coming out after hearing this ruling from the judge, which unfortunately for you goes against you.
Oh, that's the way it is.
What can you do?
Yeah.
You misread the contract.
Well, I don't think I did.
All right.
I didn't get it. He didn't. I never got a letter. He got that stamp by the post office. I'd like a copy of that.
All right. All right. Sorry about all that.
Right this way. Thank you, sir.
All right. So there's another happy customer, huh?
Yes.
There you go. Another notch on your belt.
No, unfortunately.
Is it lucrative, pawnbrokering?
It's okay, but as you can see, I'm not on a Fortune 500 company.
Okay, Harvey.
Okay, the plaintiff was griping about the 63% interest. Usury has lots and lots of exceptions.